All right. Hey, Jimmer. I really appreciate getting together with me today, buddy. Gosh, I'm really excited to show you the company that I'm now involved with. I know I was telling you a little bit over the phone about Federal Financial Group. Let me tell you a little bit about them. Federal Financial Group, they're a national company with over 70 offices nationwide. And basically what we do is we educate people about money with the overall goal of helping them make the most with what they have and helping Americans become financially independent. Pretty awesome, huh? Let me ask you, buddy, what's your definition of financial independence? Yeah? No, that's great, man. That's great. I totally agree 100%. What we like to say is that you have enough money in your nest egg that when you retire, the return on that will pay you enough so you don't have to work anymore. Now, you can work if you want to, but what if you had the options and the possibility to work if you wanted to not have to work anymore? You could retire and do what you want when you want. The American dream, right? Okay. Now, basically, in order to get there, we have a lot of challenges, but we also have our program that we can help people with. Now, over the last 10 years, let's take a look at things. Cost of living, gone up. Income has gone up. Unfortunately, most of the time, cost of living is outperforming the increase in your income. Now, if I lined up 100 65-year-old Americans right now, how many of those 100 do you think would be able to retire with over $35,000 a year coming in from their retirement account? You say 10? That's a pretty good guess. That was better than what I said. Four of those 65-year-old Americans would be able to retire with $35,000 a year or more coming in. I mean, there's a bank and insurance company around every corner. And we still haven't figured something out, obviously. That's not a good number. I mean, when you hit 65, I mean, you have a few options. If you can't retire on your own, you can move in with family, maybe find a rich relative. You can become a charity case, or you can keep working. I mean, matter of fact, I was sitting at a Panera Bread the other day, just having a cup of coffee, doing some paperwork. I look up, and I'm like, what is... There's a grandmother. She has to be pushing 70, 75, and she's digging in the trash. Like, what the heck? Come to find out, she has a Panera Bread apron on. She's not doing that for a hobby. She's working. I can almost guarantee you, when she was 35, she was not thinking she'd be doing that 40 years later. We help people not have to put themselves in that position. Okay? And we have 7 steps of how we help people do that. I know you already kind of eyed them up right now. If you have any questions, we'll come back to them. But let me start. Step number 1, inspect what you expect. What I mean by that, I work with a lot of business owners, a lot of high-level executives as my customers. They have their investment statements coming in from all these different companies and all these investments. They don't know how to read them. They're sick of looking at losses. They file them, they throw them in the garbage. Whatever they do with them, but for the most part, they look at them, they have no clue how to understand it. We help people have a better understanding of your portfolio and how to understand your investments. We keep it really simple, okay? Step number 2, increase your cash flow. Let me ask you this, what's your definition of cash flow? No, that's good, that's good. It's actually what we like to say is what's left over after all income and expenses have gone out, okay? Let me ask you this. Did you get an income tax refund at the end of the year? You do. Okay. Is it pretty substantial? Yeah? 6? Well, no, wait, no. You said about $4,000? Okay, that's pretty good. I was actually sitting down with a customer the other day, and they said they get a $6,000 return at the end of the year. That's pretty good. So I asked them, I said, so you're telling me that you let the government take $500 of your money that you worked for every single month, and they give that back to you at the end of the year after 12, 14 months? How much interest are they paying you? The guy looks at me. None. That doesn't sound like a good idea at all. I said, it's not. So what if you could reposition that to make that money work for you and actually get a return on it instead of the grand old investment opportunity with the federal government? Yeah, not too good, huh? Okay, so I'm excited that you have a little bit coming in at the end. We might be able to do something with that. Okay, step number 3, eliminate debt. How's your current debt scenario? Good? Okay, that's pretty good, actually. You'd be surprised at the terrible Terrible scenarios I run into with some people. I mean, their debt can just absolutely get out of control. Okay? We want to help people eliminate that. Okay? Step number 4, develop an emergency fund. Okay? Everyone knows they need one of these, but few people have them. You know, that $1,700 transmission that blows out, that can get pretty costly putting that on a credit card. Let me ask you this. Have you ever tried saving an emergency fund in your checking account? Yeah? How'd that work out for you? I can totally agree. Been there, done that. It seems to disappear, doesn't it? Okay? We actually help people keep it in a place that's safe away from their checking so it's out of sight, out of mind. Pretty cool, huh? Okay? Step number 5, help you protect what you have. Basically, all that means is that we help people protect themselves from loss of life, loss of income. We're brokers, so we can shop the market for the best, most bad to the bone life insurance policies out there. I mean, 'cause we've all heard the story of the family, 3-4 kids, the breadwinner dies, no life insurance. Who's keeping the lights on? Who's keeping the heat on? Food on the table? Who's paying the bills? We want to prevent that from happening to you. We don't want you to be one of those stores. Okay? We can shop the market for some of the best because we are brokers. Okay? And then step number 6, the most powerful step of these 7. I mean, I'm telling you, Jimmer, if you listen to me and what I have to say here over the next 10, 15 minutes, it can change your quality of life forever. Are you ready to listen? All right, good. Awesome, man. Let me flip ahead here a few pages here. All right. Now, what are some things that prevent people from having long-term financial independence? Obviously, inflation. Something you can't prevent. It's unpredictable, and you can't prevent that. All right? Another thing is taxes. Yeah, you cringe about as bad as I do when you hear taxes. I hate taxes as much as you do. Okay? Taxes can literally kill you. I mean, they're terrible. Okay? But there's ways around that. There are. Let me ask this. Have you ever heard of the Rule 72? You haven't? Okay, well, if anything, you're going to learn something today. Rule 72, it's an Einstein thing. I mean, I think we could probably agree that he probably had a little bit too much time on his hands, but he wanted to find out how long it would take your money to double at a given interest rate. Okay? And what he did, he found out you take the number 72, you divide into that your interest rate, the number you get is how long it takes for your money to double, how many years it takes your money to double. Okay? So let's just say, for this example right here, that's 4%. 72 divided by 4%, that means your money doubles every 18 years. So you have $100 here. After 18 years, that doubles to $200. Another 18 years. Settle down. I know you're at the edge of your seat. But again, 18 years, that doubles to $400. Pretty exciting. Let me ask you this. Can $400 36 years from now buy the same amount of groceries that $100 can buy right now? You don't know. I'm likely not, but it could take $350. It could take $700. You just don't know that, but that's what we call inflation. Okay? It's unpredictable, and it's going to happen whether we like it or not. But you look at that 4%, banks aren't even getting 4% anymore. I mean, with taxes and inflation, you'll never get ahead if you don't plan properly. But what if you could get 10 to 12% interest returns? What if you could get that with guarantees of not losing your money? I mean, instead of getting 4%, you're getting 12%. You're making that $400 a third of the time. I mean, that makes all the difference, whether you like it or not. Okay? Well, let's do this. I'm going to paint a picture for you here. Let's say instead of 100, we take 10,000. You're 29 years old, starting a family and everything. You take $10,000. You put it away at an interest rate of 4%. Well, with Einstein's rule, 18 years later, your money doubles. You're at $20,000. Another 18 years goes by. At 65, you're sitting at $40,000. Now, imagine this. You're 65, you and the honey, kids are moved out of the house, gone to college, house is paid for, and you guys are excited about retirement, but you look at the account and you have $40,000. to live off. How long do you think that's going to last you? Jim, right? I know you, man. The way you spend money, not very long. No, I'm just messing with you. But seriously now, $40,000 at 65. That's not going to do the job. Okay? Now let's say this. Let's say we up it a little bit. Let's say we take it from 4 to 6%. Age 65, that extra compounding period, double your money, $80,000. Not bad. Getting better. Let's say we up it by another 2%. You're sitting at 8%. Extra compounding period. Guess what? Money doubles again. $160,000 at 65. Getting a little better. Let me ask you this. We bump this up to 12%. What do you think that number's going to turn into when you're 65? 320? Pretty close. You're smart. Good with numbers. Check this out. We snuck in another compounding period because we upped it up to 12%. $640,000. $40,000, $640,000. I know I'm going to sound like a math whiz here, but that's a $600,000 difference. That's a life-changing amount of money right there. Wouldn't you agree? Absolutely. Pretty cool, huh? I would say so. But you can do that. But how many options do you even have to do something like that these days? Well, there's really only 3 different choices that you have to invest in that type of investment. Okay, step number 1, we obviously have a fixed account. Fixed accounts they're very conservative, very low interest though. You're talking 0 to 2%. That's not what most people are looking for in their ideal investment. Okay, but then you have step number 2, or option 2, that's stock market. Nice option. When the stock market's up, life's great. But when the stock market's down, life stinks. It's not too good around the house, is it? It can be very profitable, but it's also very, very risky. And it has its ups, but when it has its ups, it's bound to have its downs again. Okay? Then your third option is what I'm here to talk to you about is the equity index strategy. Okay, the great thing about this, guaranteed not to lose your money, and your returns are locked in every year. Okay, this is actually linked to the S&P 500. Do you know what that is? Well, neither did I before that. The S&P 500 is actually the 500 largest American companies, all pooled into one. Okay, over the past 80 years, check this out. For the past 80 years, the S&P 500 has had an average return of 10.7%. That's double-digit returns. That's outperformed over 80% of mutual funds over the past 80 years. That's pretty powerful, isn't it? Okay? Here's how it works, basically. Let's say the market gets 12% return, the S&P does. You get 12%. Double-digit return. Pretty awesome, huh? Obviously, there's a possibility where you can only get 6%. Obviously, then you get 6%. Let's say it performs at 4%. You get 4%. But what happens in 2008, S&P 500 was down 38%. You remember that, right? Wasn't a very good time in America, was it? No, it wasn't. A lot of people close to me, they lost a lot of money. Okay? But with the equity index strategy back in 2008, it's down 38%. What are you at? 0%. Why? Because there's a floor on how much you can lose. And that floor ranges from 0 to 12%. So you're guaranteed not to lose the money that the people, let's say you would have had $640,000 in your account back in 2008, and you weren't in the equity index strategy, that's a $250,000 mistake if your account's down 38%. How many of those type of mistakes, $250,000 mistakes, can you afford in your life? None. You'd like to have none, but not many. Okay? But the beauty about our program is that you're guaranteed not to lose because you're locked in at that floor of 0%. Pretty awesome, huh? Okay, now people always ask me, now, Spencer, what's the catch? Sounds too good to be true. Good question. There is a catch. The S&P gets returns over 12%. Say they get 18%. You only get 12%. Anything over 12%, they keep. That's how they make their money. That's how they profit. So you'll never go above 12% interest rate, but you'll never go below 0. That's a pretty good guarantee to not go below 0, isn't it? Okay. Now, sometimes, an illustration helps out. So let me draw this out for you. Let's say we take that $10,000. Okay. Let's say year one, you have a 10% return. Pretty good. You're sitting at $11,000. Let's say year two, 10% return again. Sitting at $12,100. Life's good. Let's say year three happens, because what happens when the stock market has its ups? What happens after that? It tends to have its downs, right? Let's say you go down 20%. Now you're sitting at $9,600, below your initial investment. Let's say year number four, you're kind of hoping it recovers, but it goes down again, 17%. You're sitting at $7,900. Not a good situation to be in. Now, this is what stockbrokers like to call Black Friday, okay? Stock market's down. Buy, buy, buy. Get everything on discount. Get everything on sale. I mean, granted, I love to get things on sale, but to dump more money into something that you're losing money on, that's not very encouraging. It gets very discouraging, okay? But that's what they suggest. Now, let's say year five, it starts to recover. You're up 15%. You're back up to $9,000. So after 5 years, you go from $10,000 to $9,000. Down $1,000. Not a good picture, huh? Now, if you invest in an equity index strategy, check this out. Year three, when you went down 20, you stay at 0. Year four, when you went down 17, you stay at 0, 12,100. Year number five, market goes up 15%, you only make 12%. But let's look at the difference here. Without the equity index strategy, $9,000 after 5 years. With it, $13,550. That's a $4,550 difference. Pretty significant, isn't it? So not only can you have the potential of double-digit returns, because it's averaged 10.7% over 80 years, not only do you have the option to where you will not lose money because you're guaranteed to not go below 0%, but what if, structured properly, your money could be invested tax-free? Yeah, your eyes lit up about as much as I do when I heard that. You hate taxes, but when you hear the term tax-free, you get pretty excited about that. That's what I got excited about. Okay? Now let's say right here, say you walk into the bank tomorrow and you want to accumulate $1 million over the next 30 years. Okay, you go to Mr. Banker. Mr. Banker, I want to have $1 million in my bank account by the time I'm 30 years from today. What do I have to do to do that? Banker looks at you and say, Jimmer, I got a fantastic deal for you. All you have to do at 5% interest, you have to save $1,639.29 a month, and you'll have $1 million 30 years from now. Pretty awesome, huh? Would you like 2 or 3? Not the ideal investment, huh? That's a lot of money to put away every month. Not many Americans have that. Okay? But you go, well, I got a little bit better for you. I can get you 10% return. How much do I need to put away on a monthly basis then? $899.14. $900. That's still a lot. But what if you could do the 10% return at a tax-deferred, tax-free rate? $438.73 a month. That's a big difference, isn't it? It's a little more affordable, huh? Yeah, pretty awesome. That's the difference between tax-free and completely accessible funds after a few years, and you could have access to those 90% of those funds at any point, tax-free, penalty-free. That's the difference of the equity index strategy. Okay? I'm telling you, Jimmer, at the end of step 6 here, my customers have a crystal clear picture on how and when they're going to be financially independent. Pretty powerful, isn't it? Okay, let me ask you this. Jim, we're pretty good friends. If you were financially independent, what would you be doing right now? Yeah? Traveling? Oh, me too. In the U.S. or outside the U.S.? Italy. That's my dream vacation. Italy? Oh, man, I'm telling you. How about this? I help you make that type of money. I help you invest properly. We go to Italy, you're buying. I'm just messing. Yeah, I'm being serious a little bit away, but No, I mean, just think about it, though. What else could you do? How great would it be if you could do when you want, do what you want, and money didn't drive all your, determine all your decisions? What if you could have a trip of the month club? Go on a trip every month. Because you'll get to the point to where if you invest properly, avoiding taxes, you won't have to out-earn your money. Because your money is going to be out-earning you. And that's what we help people do. Okay? I mean, money isn't everything, but it gives people more options. I mean, it gives you more choices. I mean, that's just what I teach. More options, more choices. Okay? I think that's important. Then you have step number 7 here, estate planning. Basically, we prepare your wills and your trusts for your family to when you pass away. Obviously, that's something a little more long-term, but that's our step 7, estate planning there. Okay? Now, if we flip back to these 7 steps that I just showed you, which of these 2 steps jump out to you the most, and which 2 steps are the most important to you? Okay? Step number 6, great choice. What's the other one? Step number 3. So step number 3 and 6. Fantastic. Great choices. Great choice. Well, basically, Jimmer, here's what I'm going to do from here. Is we're going to do a financial needs analysis on you. All right? I'm just going to gather some information. We have a very sophisticated software back at the office. Basically, what we're going to do, I'm going to put in your information. It's going to identify your goals, all your dreams, and it's going to put a plan together. And you'll know exactly how and when you're going to be financially independent. Pretty awesome, huh? Now, the question I always get, before you even ask it, people always ask you, Spencer, this sounds pretty good. It makes sense. But what's this going to cost me? It's a really good question. Here's what I tell folks. Jimmer, when I come back here a couple days from now, I'll expect a warm, fresh batch of chocolate chip cookies. Oh, those are my favorite. Tall glass of milk. And that's not, I'm just messing with you. No, I mean, seriously now. I mean, I'm a broker. We represent very large and powerful financial firms. I mean, I've had, people and partners that are in part of Federal Financial Group. And in the past, they've worked with other financial firms, like very well-known ones and reputable ones like Wells Fargo and Smith & Barney. I mean, great companies, but what's best for them is what's best for the customer. Not what's best for the customer. It's what's best for them. Okay, they kind of put you in a box. Financial firms that we're hooked up with, I'm just a broker for them. We find the best option for you that's best for you. And if you decide to do business with them, they just pay me a finder's fee. There's no investment out of your pocket. So it's not going to cost you anything. Pretty cool, huh? So let me ask you this. Do you have any type of plans for any big or major purchases over the next 5 to 10 years? Yeah, maybe a house? Thinking about getting a new car? Okay, all right. And what's your date of birth? All right. There it is. Federal Financial Group, Joe Pimentel. Hope that's what you wanted, but man, am I excited to get out in the field and change the saving habits of Americans, one person at a time. Folks, the American dream is alive and well, and we can make the difference in people's lives that they're looking to be made. So, signing off. Appreciate you guys. God bless you. Let's go make a difference.